Welcome to this Bridgewater Now update. I'm John Locke. We're coming up on the 1-year mark since education and how students learn was changed. The BR School District has seen a mix of hybrid and remote learning over the past year, and at the February school committee meeting, parents of students in the district thanked the teachers for their efforts while also voicing frustration about not being able to have students return to classes full time.
But I would just like to point out that they have never once, a teacher has never once said to me, I can't. And we have crossed a lot of hurdles. And I think the teachers really deserve that pat on the back. And also, the teachers of BR have always stood on their head and gone out of their way to educate my children. And never once have they said, we can't do it. Our children in BR need us to say, I can. And we need to try to do that for them.
During the public comment portion of the meeting, one parent said that many people have made sacrifices throughout the pandemic, but children have had to sacrifice interaction with friends and classmates.
As adults, we go to work and we do things, we interact with some minor interaction with people because we've already developed a lot of those connections, social relationships, and all that stuff, and the skills to make them. These kids are learning how to be friends, how to make friends, how to interact with peers. I just think that it can't be stated loudly enough that mathematics, although near and dear to my own personal heart, is not the only thing that school is for.
The discussion on a full return to in-person education comes a little more than a week after the Commissioner of the state's Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Jeffrey Riley, asked for the authority to reverse pandemic education changes. During the meeting on February 24th, BR Superintendent Derek Swenson and Assistant Superintendent Ryan Powers presented a PowerPoint to the school committee that went over a return to learning for spring and fall of this year. They went over some of the processes that have been taken in the past in spacing for students at the school buildings in the district. Mr. Swenson did add that there are factors when determining hybrid, remote, and full in-person learning. The first is COVID numbers in Bridgewater and Rainham, which was around 2.5 before the holidays and just recently came down from about 10 to 11%. And the superintendent said that he is listening to health agents in both communities. As we come up on a year of altered education, Mr. Swenson asks for patience and asks for everybody to continue sticking with the district.
Please just stay with us, be patient. Please know that we're not just sitting around trying to run out the clock. That's just not in our nature. It's not in our makeup. We're grunts, we're workers. We're doing what we need to do. I would just ask that folks be patient. And I realize it's difficult to ask you to be patient when we're going on almost a full year in a few weeks of this. No one wants this for our kids. No one wants this for our parents. No one wants this for our faculty and staff and our communities at large. So with that being said, I just ask that you stay with us, be patient, and I promise you, once we have the information that we need to get from the state, and once we have all of our ducks in a row, that information will be shared with you as stakeholders within this community.
And a reminder that you can watch the school committee meetings in their entirety on Channel 98 or on demand at btvaccess.com. Last week on the update, we showed you a list of candidates for the annual town election coming up on April 24th, including on the town council and the BR school committee. There are 3 candidates vying for 2 Bridgewater seats on the BR school committee, but we told you that nobody was running in Rainham. After the update went out, we were told that there were actually 3 people running for 2 seats in Rainham as well. Rachel King and Louis Gelfi are running for re-election, and Laura Conrad is running for a seat on the committee. Now, this is important for Bridgewater residents when they vote, as both towns will be voting on both community seats. And finally, today is the start of a month-long series here on the update known as At Home 1 Year Later. We're going to share stories from the past year, a year that can't really be compared to any other. Kicking things off is Brian Berard.
I think at first, a lot of people are like, oh, great, I'm going to be at home all day. This is going to be perfect. I can get so much more activities done. I can start cleaning more. I can start cooking more. And then you realize after working all day, you're still exhausted no matter where you're working. Sometimes you're just stuck in that same room day after day, hour after hour. And it's like, oh my goodness, I need a break. Even for me, like when you see my sports reports here, you're seeing my bedroom wall pretty much. And a couple of days a week, I go to my parents' house just to get a change of scenery. They have a nice finished basement. I like to go in there and just walk around or just sit and just have a different change of pace. I know for a lot of other people, their world was flipped upside down. I have friends who are parents. I have friends who are teachers. And even a year later, they're still trying to figure out the balance of work and social life, all while trying to do this in a living room or your bedroom or your dining room all day. And I can only imagine how hard it is on parents and teachers, especially the parents that have to work all day and make sure that their kids are still getting their education. And I can only imagine how much stronger people have come out of this, being able to work in an environment like this. You never are expected, or you're never prepared to work in an environment where you're working all day and your significant other's working all day, and your kid may be even working all day, and you have kids in school all day, and all under one roof. And I think it's made so many people so much stronger, and it proved to people that they really are capable of a lot of things.
Thanks, Brian, and we are still accepting submissions through March 13th on your stories, thoughts, and experiences during the pandemic over the past year. You can send your videos or your emails to jluck@btvxs.com with the subject line "At Home 1 Year Later," and you'll see it on the update during the month of March. Thanks for watching this update. I'm John Luck.